Smart 24, driving business.
Hello there, a very warm welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Anthony Sabale and I am your host. This is The Point, and on The Point, of course, we get to discuss points that are quite pertinent to business, that are quite pertinent to you as an individual moving forward. You can follow us on Twitter at Smart24TV now, and you can also get to catch us live on our YouTube live stream right now at Smart24TV Live. You can also get to our Facebook at Smart24TV Official for more of this content. Of course, those of you on our GOTV and DSTV channels 394 and 372 respectively, you're definitely most welcome on board. Now today, on a very special note, we are discussing branding in business. We are discussing branding insights that can help us increase access to the markets. When we talk about branding, there are several aspects of branding that probably people don't give much attention. Of course, besides the products, we look at the individual as well as someone who needs to be branded. And so definitely we are going to be breaking that down for you today. And joining me on this very special discussion is none other than two gentlemen, one appropriator of Bravo Shoes, Mr. Brian Yesije, and he's the proprietor of this company, Bravo Shoes, that is located at City Center in Kampala. They do have shoes of all kinds, and of course, get in the business of selling or hawking shoes, like he mentioned earlier. You're most welcome, Mr. Brian Yesije.
Thank you. It's my pleasure being here, and I'm very honored.
Thank you. And of course, we do have Mr. Alexander Chokwizuka, if I did pronounce that right. Mr. Alexander, you're most welcome. Mr. Alexander has, of course, different ambitions, but one of them is the fact that he comes from a village in Kabale, like he will be explaining, which he has several interests later on, as we shall get to know. But he has also been part of MTAC. He has a master's degree in business administration.
Yeah, ongoing.
And ongoing, yeah. Yes, interesting. And quite a number of experiences in terms of marketing and, of course, doing business. You're most welcome, Mr. Alexander.
Thank you so much, Anthony, and good evening, viewers. Like you mentioned, Alexander Chokwizuka is my name. I go by the head of marketing and communication at MTAC, but also an entrepreneur and so many other things, and a politician as well.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and you're well branded, as I can see here today for the show. Let's start with a lighter note. Mr. Brian, when we talk about branding, so many aspects come to mind, and of course, the viewers of this show want to distinguish what your definition of branding is. What are the boundaries? Where do you set the boundaries for branding? Because when you look at branding currently, it's not just in terms of looking at the product, how it's packaged, the logo on it. It's more. We have online branding, we do have personal branding. What would be your definition of branding?
Yeah, branding is very wide, and definitely most people thought about branding as product branding. Okay. Where we're coming in product branding, of course, it takes about on how you bring out a product, the packaging, how your product is, the product outlay, how to set up your business to sell your product. Yes, this is how it has been. But again, the main core of branding is that before you look at the product, it all starts with let me talk about the proprietor or the entrepreneur behind. Many brands really fall below the entrepreneur himself. Before you think about branding your own products, you have the personal brand, because guess what? Before the product is on board, there is somebody behind it. And that person behind it Depends on what he sees his business. Do you want to sell out yourself as a brand? Now, in simplicity, I always tell people that before you become a full brand, there are certain aspects, certain things you must do. Because I've challenged people wherever I've been. Someone comes and says, oh, this is my product. This is what I do. I look at the product first because I'm very keen with brands, because I'm very passionate about brands. When you bring out a product to me, first of all, there are certain things that I follow. I would ask you and say, are you trademarked? Are you trademarked? Now, once you told me that you're not trademarked, then it means that you're not part of this, to me. Because, yes, you may say, my brand is from, but are you trademarked? Now, once you're not in that category, then you cannot behave as a brand. To me, I trust and believe that before you look at any brand, once you're already trademarked, you know, trademarks are protected by the World Intellectual Property.
Yeah.
And in the country, we are protected by the IP department of the Uganda Registration Services Bureau. And that is a different department, where you find that people have not differentiated between the intellectual property and the business registration. So we need to bring out our people to understand first, what is branding? How do you behave as a brand? How do you become Smart 24? You're Smart 24 because you're trademarked. Now, once you go to that level and you're a full brand, then you're able now to start behaving as a brand. Now, if I'm speaking to somebody out there who is not trademarked, yes, you may have very good products. You may have, very good products, performing, the best in the market. But once you do not have a trademark certificate, once you are not protecting your branding, your property, your title of your business, then to me, our discussion of branding is you're out. But now when you are trademarked and you're fully registered as a trademark, then the branding starts with you. After doing all that, you say, now, what does it require me to behave as a brand? Because there are norms, there are disciplines, most special discipline. As an entrepreneur, you must have certain disciplines, okay? Beyond that, once you understand what trademarks or brands are, and then you as an entrepreneur, you say, yes, this is how I want to be. Then you start behaving as a brand. There are so many ways. If you look at me, if I chose to put on this shirt, I can choose to put on this shirt forever. Wherever I appear, they know you appear in black and white. That's my brand. Someone will always identify. If it is a woman out there, she can have a kind of hair, maybe tongs or short hair, and someone will know that that's a brand. So a brand is something that you take up for easy identity, for somebody to differentiate you from the rest. Put on one t-shirt. Nobody can upon another t-shirt.
That's his brand.
But what is his branding? If you understand branding, and everybody knows him because he's a one t-shirt man.
Yeah.
Is he Alcanza? So it depends on how you want to brand yourself perfectly, and then set yourself off the track.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Thank you so much, Mr. CJ. Now, Mr. Alexander, when we look at what he's defining personal branding or branding in general as, he says branding is more about what people think of you, what you portray to the public, and how you portray it. And he talks about something very critical here when it comes to business, and that is trademarking. Now, when you talk about trademarking here in Uganda, you've seen UNBS running around with so many companies that are not registered, some having fake Q marks and so on and so forth. Is branding restricted when it comes to, products, particularly to those that have been able to qualify, for example, for the standards, for the Q mark, or actually it goes beyond just what is qualified and to what people think they are in themselves?
Okay, thank you so much, Anthony, and thank you so much, my brother, for that very important submission. Well, in my humble opinion, and of course, given my experience and expertise in marketing and selling, trademarking and those other statutory requirements are simply part of the bigger picture of branding. Businesses and individuals exist for a purpose. As an individual, as Anthony Sebale, you exist to serve a certain, target audience in Masaka, where you come from, in Chigarama, where you come from. And the same goes for the business. Any business out there exists for two reasons. Now, Bravo will tell you that any business is there, number one, to achieve two goals. Goal number one is to satisfy the needs of a certain group of people. That's number one. Number two is to make profit for the proprietor or the entrepreneur behind the idea. Now, when it comes to you as a person, you live personally, I live to try and, as much as I can, to aspire, to inspire very many other people out there, serve humanity, and the rest. So the nexus between these, ideas, between individuals and businesses and why we exist, are that there is a value that you want to put out there. Now, where branding comes in, and why I say it is a bigger picture than even just having a logo and even just having a mission. Branding is the efforts that we make, cognizant of that value that we want to put out there to any target audience, that you create some identity that when someone sees you tomorrow or sees anything like the bottle of water and the like, they know this is Alexander Chokushka. Alexander Chokushka is a humble citizen from Chigarama. The humble citizen from Chigarama has A, B, C, and D to offer. If I need A, B, C, and D, I can only get it in greater quality from that young man. This is Bravo shoes. If I want good quality shoes, I can only get it from Bravo. If I want shoes that are, affordable, I can only get them from Bravo shoes. If I want shoes that are that will live longer, that I can use for years without having to repair them, I can get them from here. If I want shoes that can easily come and I can access them, very easily, I can only get them from Bravo shoes. Now, that is one thing that I would want people out there to understand, that there is a value proposition that you have, and you want this to reach your target audience. So there is a kind of identity that you must create in the mind of that target customer, that target client, that target beneficiary, so that whenever they think about you, they think about that. Today, when you talk about yellow, for instance, probably in telecom companies, you're referring to some telecom company, and we all know, and everywhere you go, you'll find it. Yes? You realize that I'm talking about the car, but I'm also talking about the slogan, everywhere you go. That's branding. So in the mind of me as a client, as a customer, you want me to have it in mind that everywhere I go, I can always find this telecom company. Now, where it becomes a bit more than just the logos and the slogans and all of that, is that branding has taken a twist from what we used to know, the conventional branding. But today, even the superpowers, I don't want to mention them. They don't have to tell you that they are very powerful by the time they tell you that we are actually powerful. No. The way they brand themselves. Because by branding, you identify the strong points you want out there and amplify them. And the unfortunate bit is that you also identify the weak points and you hide them as much as you can. I will tell you one time when I was there at university, I went to some bank, which I will not mention. And when I was interacting with a young man, the teller was putting on very nicely, very nice shirt, sky blue shirt, with a necktie. But now, unfortunately, he had forgotten to button one of his buttons on the shirt. Now, the shirt opened, and this young man was putting on a torn vest. I looked at it. This is a bank. And bankers, they're always smart, because there's that impression that they must create before you that, hey, here, your money is safe. We are very kind, all that. So, deep in my heart, I was like, okay, this young man is very smart, but he's underground his tone. And that to show you that if the button had been tied, yes, ultimately, the best picture I would have got of this young man is that he's a very smart guy and the like. So in branding, in a nutshell, you have a value proposition and you want it to go to a certain target audience. You do all you can, identify your strong points, package them very well, deliver them, make sure that your client or your prospective client gets them. You have the weak points adequately. Make sure those never get out, because when they get out, definitely, then you're killing the brand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Komujisi. We're going to, before going to the break, Mr. ECJ,
Yeah.
he's talked about a very huge point here, that we know certain people that have created brands. I'll just give examples. When you're going through a petrol station, someone will say, I'm going to Shell.
Yeah.
And whether it's Total, whether it's any other,
Yeah.
because Shell has been there for years and they have branded every petrol station Shell. I'm going to buy Blue Band, right? And you see how these companies have maintained their brands for a very, very long time. Most of our viewers here, they are entrepreneurs, probably just starting up. And they look at all these big companies and they get threatened. They're like, okay, how many years is it going to take me to build such a brand? You know, when you talk about airlines, you talk about Emirates. You see their pilots, their air hostesses, they get more respect at the airports. Yeah. This is a fact, right? Because of the brand. What do you think should come first, especially in the entrepreneur's mind? Because when an entrepreneur is starting, there's so many things. There's capital requirements, there are registration requirements. There's so many things that come to mind. Where is branding in that hierarchy?
You see, I will tell you that the world is changing. I have to be very, very sincere. All these brands that you see out there, first thing they did is protect their property. And when I talk about protecting your intellectual property as a major point, I'm trying to give you examples that so much are losing it out right now. You build your empire for 5 years, 10 years. The day you crash is the day you realize that actually whatever you built was about infringement. And the law about infringement is very strict and very dangerous. If you look at one of the computer brands that came and hit so many people at NASA Road, is because this brand had rights to come in and take over everything that you possess, and you will never go anywhere to argue about it. Let's give you another example. Rolex. Rolex today is everybody knows Rolex is a watch. So somebody came in here and called his local delicacy as Rolex. But you know what happened? The big brand came into the market and took over. Because that's their brand. Because they're fully protected and registered. Now imagine you build the Rolex, the local delicacy, people know you as this, and they hit you in the head. And when you are crashing as a brand, especially when you have taken up a certain name or trademark, in its small, big, and then you're crushed with it, you will never appear anywhere again. Even when your products are very good, it will be very difficult for you to start. So I call upon the entrepreneurs who are doing great innovations, great creations. But as you look for capital, put there that innovation you're making, that brand you want to bring up. The brand may be, I know your palm, maybe there is Peter, and then Amos, and then Maureen. That's my wife, probably. But you're creating your name as Pam. Okay, everybody knows that you're Peter, and the other name is for Maureen as your wife. We all know, everybody will know. But you have the rights to use that word as Pam. Somebody trademarked it and you can never use it on your brand. You can never use it anywhere on display. Okay. Now, it's not very cheap and it's very significant, but I want to show you at the point where it is crushing you, it becomes catastrophic. Because remember, you put in a lot of money, you advertise the law, and then tomorrow they crush and tell you, please, you have to drop everything. And with the law of the intellectual property, it's very complicated. And for example, if I found out that somebody is producing brown shoes anyway, I have rights to take over that factory. I have the right to take over everything he has invested in. I will sue him and I'll get all the capital that I've been lacking. You can imagine. I will take over the capital from him to my side. But just because, guess what? just registering a trademark costs how much? It's about 275,000 Uganda shillings.
Yeah.
Imagine somebody says I'm looking for a capital of 2 million, is it 1,200,000? Why don't you add on the 275? That anything you start out, everybody knows that you're protected.
Is a trademark analogous to copyright when we talk about, for example, the music industry?
Yeah, copyright is part of it. We have patents, we have patents, we have copyrights, we have trademarks. Okay, so copyright is also part of the the IP. It's part of the IP as well. So once you do not focus on this, because I'm saying it, I'm in the market. I am seeing how so many people are losing it out. How the young entrepreneurs that have been creative, very, very much creative, have underlooked all this, because it's like doing a business informally. Yes, but how long are you going to keep informal? Yes, if you have a logo or trademark, you're trying to portray out there. Yes, at your locality it's okay, but are you aware that someone else out there owns this trademark? You may say it's automatic, these are letters of my husband and my wife, but are you aware that that same one, someone had it and they trademarked it and will bring you down? Okay, so to me, I would say that the basics, given the experience that I have, how many, still has so many people have lost it out, I'd rather say the young entrepreneurs, any innovation you think about. I know so many people claim we don't have the money, we are trying that, but let it be part of the capital. That it is your title. Nowadays, they have allowed, I hope the bankers and everyone is going to accept it, that now we can use our trademark certificates as collateral security to go to the bank and be able to get money and do your business. So imagine if you're a trademark and you're building it, and you already have a title to which you can use as well as collateral security. To me, that is the greatest. And any business that you have, once you do not have the certificate to prove that you own whatever you do, the innovations and the creations and whatever you're doing, it goes totally off. So to me, I say it should be the basis as well. However, if you have already gone, please, it's never too late. Can you go? There are many who are running to the IP section and they realize that they can never proceed with that name. That they have put in money for close to some years, and it's so disheartening and very complicated to go back again and build it at the name.
Yeah, well, thank you, Mr. CG. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We are discussing branding and how to increase market access through branding in the 21st century. I'm with Mr. CG Brand, the CEO of Bravo Shoes, and of course, Mr. Alexander Kokujuka, who is the head of communications at MTAC, and a proprietor and a politician as well. We're going to take a short break, but when we return, Mr. Alexander, the fact is today you cannot do away with online marketing. And as a marketeer, I know, or as a marketing agent, the online business has become one of the most lucrative online marketing businesses. And when you look at statistics from Global Statista, you have at least 63% of the global population online. That's about 5 billion people online. And so if you can be able to market yourself out there, it means you have a wider access to the market. So we're going to come back with a few strategies that young people, especially entrepreneurs, can use to be able to leverage technology in branding. My name is Anthony. This is The Point. We'll return shortly. Stay with us.